to the Velvet Room, a space for an open conversation about Black love, marriage, religion, and generational wealth. Sit back and relax and be prepared for a real discussion and open conversation. Like and subscribe.
What's up?
What's going on? Reppin'. What's happening? All is well.
Yes.
Hey, Kim.
Hey.
You all got different environment, background. You outdoors?
No, inside.
Is that bushes in the back?
Yes, it's some greenery.
Okay.
Yes, it's decorative greenery. You can use it inside or outside. It depends.
It ain't the smoking greenery.
Don't do that.
Yo. So, y'all, I missed you guys last week. We had some technical difficulties last week, but can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And but we're back on track again this week. So, how's everybody week been though?
Hey, mine's been going pretty good. I've been outside and doing some landscaping, but nonetheless, I'm glad it started raining because that gives me a break to just take a break and just chill from the outside. I've been out there for about 4 or 5 days and been doing the do. Everybody been stopping, taking pictures, cars stopping because they like what they see. But brother man was tired a little bit, so I had to give it a halt once the Mother Nature took over. But it's about 98% there where I wanted it.
Nice. What about you, Kim?
My week was pretty good, even though I guess last week because this week just started. So my week was cool. I'm cool, just kind of like in this relaxational stage, getting my mind back together, from school. So I don't have any classes right now or anything like that. So I'm just relaxing and, preparing for the new year.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
What about you, Andy? What you been up to?
Man, absolutely nothing. Just trying to get some more editing stuff done, and just life stuff. What's up, Savage? Salute. Hey, brother, praying for you. Get better soon.
Yes, sir.
Jim Savage. Jim couldn't make it tonight, you guys, but I know he definitely here in spirit.
That's what's up.
Yep. So let me get for something real quick here. All right, so let's talk about a few things. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, by the way, the topic for today is going to be list of things a woman should do for her man. It's a list of things, so this should be interesting, right? I know Kim can't wait to get onto it. All right, before we do that, let's go to hot topics. Here we go. Second here. Hot topic. You know I'm rusty.
And now it's time for the next hot topics.
What's up, everybody? What's going on? What's happening? It is good to be alive on today. This past weekend, I want to give a shout out to all the veterans who serve, who have family members, who are dependents, just for being a part of this Veterans Day weekend. It has been a blessing. I went around to this restaurant. I got this smoothie. I went and got me a chicken salad sandwich to take home. I went to this place and got this. So I appreciate all the vendors that, just gave things out as appreciation for all the veterans. And and just to give a shout out to my family, while I got the mic, 1 2 1 2. My family, my two brothers and my dad and myself, we served 105 years in the Army, and we are here today to tell the testimony. So God kept us, and I'm glad He did. So happy Veterans Day to everybody, to all my brothers and sisters and my dad.
That's right.
But moving forward, we're going to talk about the first topic of today, which is relating to a veteran family. We had a mom and daughter who graduated from the United States Navy Academy, and they're the first duo, mom and dad, mother and daughter, to graduate from the academy in the 177 years of the academy existing. So their names are Tamika, which is the mom. She graduated actually in 1992, and her daughter, she graduated this past May of this year. Her name is Elise, and their last name is Lindsay. So I want to give it up to the mom and daughter duo for representing and just achieving their goals.
Yes.
Second topic of the day is, y'all heard about Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer Hudson said she was dating, but she didn't disclose who she was dating. So on a talk show, she just said that she was happily dating and that she was happily in a relationship. But there's been some footage with her holding hands with somebody. Do y'all know who she was holding hands with?
No idea. Who was she with?
It's a common name.
Common name. Eric?
Nah, actually his name is Common.
Good one. I got it. Like that one. I didn't catch that one.
Common. Y'all remember the Common, the rapper, right?
Right.
So she was seen dating, holding hands with him. And they, I think they maybe, it ain't came out yet, but it appears if she's dating,
gosh,
then they wouldn't be holding hands.
Wow.
Right.
Come getting around now.
Yeah, y'all got to look at it. All these folks all these actresses and singers, it's like a soap opera. Like watching, what is it? What's the As the World Turns and Days of Our Lives? All they do is just keep switching women's in it.
Women.
Just keep switching. It's gonna be somebody else next week. Speaking of that, Steve Harvey's daughter, Lori Harvey.
Oh Lord.
And her friend, what's his name? Idris. He's actually from London. They've been dating a year now, but I think they have called it off. And I think what they said, this is what they said. They said, we are at the point in our lives where our individual paths require full attention and dedication. We part ways, remaining friends with nothing but love and respect for each other and the time that we share together. I think that's the let's keep the public off of our situation type thing, because it might have been something else going on. But that's good that you put it out there like that, because everybody don't really need to know what's going on. So sometimes you got two people that are great people, but they just wrong together. And we have to understand that everybody's not who's great doesn't match. It's not a match. But those are your hot topics today. Hey, again, salute to all the veterans out there. My brother, what's up, Street?
That's right.
And, Mr. Church, I can't hear
And
you.
look,
How y'all doing?
Good, pretty good. Listen, just before we get off the topic, Lori, she's beautiful. She, anybody after what she just dated, it's pretty hard for anybody. She done dated Diddy, which is one of the richest. She done dated one of the most sexiest guys that all the women want. still not satisfied there. And so it's like every time we see her with another breakup, it's just like, again, like she's just skipping around. I mean, I think it's hard for a person like her, the type of money she comes from, and I still think it's taxing money that I think if she didn't come from money like that, I don't think that would have been an issue, because there's nothing that neither one of the guys could do for her that she just cannot do for herself. So I think her game is different. Plus, she's very attractive. But I'm like Savage. Lori said Lori's for the streets.
Yeah, it's.
What are you gonna say, Kim?
You're right.
If it was a man, would it be an issue?
What you mean?
If a man did the same thing that Lori was doing, if he dated, Common, he's a perfect example.
Right.
Do people? I don't hear people talking about Common like they talk about Lori. Nobody said that Common was for the streets, but he said Lori is for the streets. So, and we all have this thing, well, a woman can't do what a man can do. Okay, well, what gives a man the right to do it in the first place? He give himself the right, but that's not a right.
I don't think neither one of them I think what they're looking at is the exterior on how beautiful she is, and they stereotyping when she's a beautiful person, she must have. I mean, why are you doing that as that type of statue of a woman? I think they're looking at more so of the exterior and the background where she come from. It don't make it an excuse on Common or her, but to me, it just, I don't care who it is. It's a soap opera, male or female. I mean, look at our relationship. We just not in the media like they are.
Right. Yeah, she's a. All right, what we saying now?
I said, Savage said, why women think they are like men or should be like them. It's not about being like a man. It's about not getting the same scrutiny that women get. Women get scrutinized and called different names and stuff like that when they date around, but men don't. So it's not, we don't want to be like you, but we want to have the same level of respect that you have when you do what you do.
That's great.
Because if you're not married, you don't own, no one own you. You can date whoever you want to. So why is it different for a man and a woman?
Well, if you go back, who was called a name first, women or men? Go back. Who was called that name first? Men was considered dogs. Is that the first name? That's the first name that I heard as a kid growing up. Man, that man's a dog. That means he slept with somebody else and this and that. So it wasn't common for a woman to put herself out there like that, according to society eyes. So now that women are doing it, it's like, ugh, you nasty. You I mean,
well, can I be?
Say again, Church.
Hey, what I wanted to say was, when you really look at it from a biblical perspective, a biblical standpoint, what happens is women have put themselves in a position where they want to be equal to the man, but when certain things happen, they don't want to be equal. Like in particular, we don't want to be equal, to be accepted for what they do wrong out of the will of God. Then when things begin on, hey, I'm a woman. So you understand where I'm coming from.
You're going in and out of Church.
Yeah, you're going in and out. Maybe your Wi-Fi.
What make y'all think women want to be equal to men?
It's out there.
who said that? Like, I'm confused because I hear this a lot, and it's like, well, why do you say women want to be equal to men?
Because they said.
No, give me an example. Like, I mean, you said they said.
Well,
I've never said it.
I think it started with the pay. I think it first started with the pay, and ain't nothing wrong with that. But I think, to me, it has elevated and bled into a lot of other different areas. Meaning, I want equal pay if I'm doing the same job, and nothing wrong with that. Trust me, don't get me wrong. But then it becomes, in the household, where they should be equal according to biblical. In the biblical aspect, the man should be head of his household. But in society, they say, no, we're going to be neck and neck. We're going to be here. So it's like, it's a lot of comparison. Ever since that pay stuff started, don't get me wrong. I think there's nothing wrong with that, but I think how a lot of people are going about it the wrong way and letting it bleed into other parts of your relationship, other parts of different aspects of life. And so, like they said, if a man can do this, why can't I do this? If a man gets this, why can't I get this? So it's like women have a tendency to compare themselves, and so we just feed off of that what they're saying.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get out from audio.
I was just curious.
You hear what I said?
What did you say?
What do you say, church?
And to be honest with you, that's what happened. We was talking about the lady that you just talking about. He just made the same comment like, why can't this same.
You broke it up really bad, church.
Yeah, like we don't know what you're saying.
You really
broke it up. Here's the thing. It's not to say that. Well, my understanding. I'm trying to understand is just like Common, he's went through quite a few women. So my question is, like, he said he made a comment. She's for the streets. Lori is for the streets. Okay, so then that means Common is for the streets. Not to say that men and women are trying to compete with a man or whatever. I'm just saying, why is it not looked at the same? I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, not, it should be looked at the same.
For one, each person holds their own. We really shouldn't be comparing nobody to this person, just like family and relationship. We shouldn't compare this relationship to this relationship. Let's look at the individual themselves instead of compare them to that person over here. Let's just talk about, is it true what we're saying or what this person is displaying? So I think when we compare, no, we shouldn't compare. Let's just concentrate on what she's doing and not say, now if his name come up in the label, then okay, it comes up. But I think, is it true what we're saying that she's has the carrying the, I guess, whole persona about herself like the Kardashians? Is that kind of true? If so, then why we don't need to jump in what comments is doing.
But that's still comparison. Her with the it's still you comparing her to Kardashians. That's still a comparison, right? Why?
But it was just about her. So you have to compare because it was just about her instead of male and female gender relationship.
Well, no, because we compare. Common, it's funny to me because Common was the male, but my point is he's a male that has gotten around in the industry with different women. And I don't even know who he has been. Common has been with different women, different celebrities, beautiful celebrities, may I add. And it seems that the relationships never work with any of these women. But I have never heard anybody say especially a man say, let me say this, coming is for the streets. But they will be quick to say that about a woman.
Well, either way,
I don't even hear them say that about the Kardashians. They don't even say the Kardashians for the streets.
It was spicy.
I'm just, I mean, I'm
Let's
make it make
get to
sense.
the topic. All right, we're going to get to the topic of the day. All right, the topic of the day is the list of things that a woman should do for her man. And so I'm gonna share all the list. If I got set, let me go see here. So this is interesting to me. Okay, this is the list, which you can't really see it. But I'm gonna read it out to you. And y'all tell me if you disagree, because Kim, I think you definitely should agree to all of it. All right, go ahead. Gallery. Okay. All right. So one of the first things on the list is be his safe place and comfort zone. That makes his place feel like home. All right. The other one is listen and be understanding. Feed his soul, love him unconditionally, pray for him, be his peace, be his best friend, uplift, encourage, support him, give forgiveness, understand him, give him space, cook for him, respect him, be submissive, allowing him to lead, add value to his life, be nourishing, heal and grow with him, give him king treatment, and also have a spiritual connection. And the last one is take his soul. So
can I tell you about this list now that I look at it and we read everything off?
Yeah.
This didn't come from a biblical woman.
Okay, wait there.
Because I don't see nothing about what she can list of things she should do is love God.
Right.
This came from a woman who, that feel good. This feels all the feel good and all the, the happy space and this and that. I don't see nothing about she should, a list of things you should do as a woman for your man is to love him like the Bible talks about how we should love. I know it talks about unconditionally, but I wanted to see God in there somewhere.
Very good point. I agree. Which one want to say, Kim? Or you the church?
I thought church was gonna say something.
It may be.
I think you still got some.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you, church. Let's look at number 7. Be his peace. I don't think somebody can.
It won't. I'm sure it's going to sound. Okay. Yeah, I want to get in the sound. Okay, so you said, what did you say, Eric?
Number 7. Look at be his peace. Can somebody be his peace? Be someone else's peace? Or you have to have your own peace?
Well, they sure can disturb it. That's for sure.
Right. They can disturb it. They can be an influence to disturb your peace. I don't think nobody can disturb the peace that I have. They can disturb the peace. Somebody said something the other day, and it was very profound. And I'll find it while Kim is talking.
Here's the thing. I agree. I think you must first exhibit peace within yourself first before you can either be anybody's peace or have your own peace. I think that list, I honestly don't think anything is wrong with the list. And I agree with Eric, about having God in it. But here's the thing. When you write a list about things that a person should provide for you, can you say that you can provide the same thing for them? Because if you cannot provide the same thing in return, then to me, you should not get the list either.
Exactly.
Yes, because a relationship is not one-sided. Both people are supposed to be able to tap into each other, pour into each other, feed each other. So having a list where it seems like, oh, a woman should do all these things. Okay, so a man should be doing the same things. Like, it's not one-sided. It's both people making sure they are pouring into each other to make the relationship a success. Whatever success that relationship is trying to create.
But that's what is one of the it's the one that said love him unconditionally. And I think I realized something about women is that y'all love men conditionally. It's not unconditionally nowadays. And it's only on the condition of what we're able to do for you or do for you or let you have your way, whatever it is. Y'all love us long as all that stuff is good. But when it's not that way, you don't love us, like we're no good. I remember Cam Newton was talking, he was saying that I got to be with someone for 10 years, do everything right. And all of a sudden, one day he does one thing wrong. And that one thing wrong cancels out everything he did right. And it's like it's unfair the way that how women do and how that y'all go about it. But I just think that it's not right.
I don't know what to say about that, but I'm in that same statistic. I got a whole list of every woman. Let me tell you, every female, and ain't been at that many that I've been with, their moms love me. I mean, when I say love me. My list is long on what I have done and poured into relationships. It is long. According to them, I got cards, I got letters, I got texts, I got everything to vouch the words that are coming out of their mouth. As soon as I disagree about something, it's like the whole hurricane, a tornado just wiped everything away. I'm like, how in the world did I go from hero to zero? I mean, it's just all because you didn't like something I said, or I didn't agree with you, or something of that nature. So I feel a lot of guys in that sense, and that unconditional part, I have yet to meet a woman that has unconditional love.
And I got to add this to that I really thought about the other day. You know, with this mother-daughter, with mother-son relationship and father-daughter relationship, right? I realized that, you know, women should understand something. You should love a man unconditionally. Even if you make mistakes. I'm gonna tell you why. If you have a son, you have to understand that one day your son is gonna marry a woman. And all of the right things that you how you look at your son, like even when he does wrong, you can still love your son the same way, no matter what he does. And you're gonna try to guide him the right way. So when he get married, that woman takes over that role. She has to make sure that she support him. I mean, that's how I see it. But the thing is, women, the reason why I say it because women, like God love us unconditionally, then
that's
women
the key.
should
That's
also
the key.
love us unconditionally. Because
That's
if you
the
expect
key.
for God to love you unconditionally, then you should also do the same thing. If you don't do the same thing, then I think it's kind of selfish for a person to think that way.
I think it's selfish for women to keep thinking they're the same as men. Stop comparing. What is a woman's value? Where a woman's value, even biblically, woman's value is their purity, right or wrong. So if you see a woman that's going around humping and jumping and everything, do you want that woman anymore? No, you don't want her no more. So I stop comparing the thing where you're like, what Common did this? Why can't Common be compared that way? Because Common's a man.
Hey,
I thought we was talking about unconditional love. I don't think men love women unconditional either, because as soon as we mess up and do something, or women do something that man doesn't like or doesn't agree with, and within the relationship, there are some times that he acts up too. So I think that's both. I think we like to play sides, but
That's BS.
the Bible says for the man to love his wife as Christ loved the church, right?
Right.
Which means if he loved his wife as Christ loved the church, that means he is supposed to be willing to die for his wife. He is supposed to be willing to give himself for his wife.
Agreed.
So when you say love unconditionally, how many men are willing to give their life for their wife?
More than you know.
Hey, can I say something?
Go ahead.
Okay, basically, I'm doing a study on Adam and Eve in the garden, right? What has happened was during this particular study, when Eve actually ate from the tree of good knowledge and evil, and she went and introduced Adam to what was going on, the study even shows that Adam only ate the fruit, not because he was in the know of what he was doing wrong. He ate it because he looked at the agony his wife was gonna go through and chose to eat it because of what she was going to endure, and he wasn't willing to allow her to endure it alone.
I disagree. I'm gonna tell you why I said that. The way I see this is, I thought about this, man, and what it really showed me was whenever the serpent approached Eve, he approached her because she was a weaker vessel. God gave Adam instructions.
It wasn't even that. It wasn't even that.
Let me finish.
I'm doing a study, and this is not
right. Let me finish. But see, what happened was he gave Adam instructions. He never talked to Eve at all. Whenever Eve took the apple, or the fruit, whatever it was, she bit from. When she took it, nothing happened to her. Nothing happened to her. Not till she gave it to the source, was to the man, and Adam disobeyed. What it showed us was he adored his wife more than he did God, because God gave him instructions. That's why women can always do everything they want to do, because some of the stuff that they want to do get you in financial trouble. They can't always have everything that they want to see. So she wanted that, and she wanted him to have, even though God gave him instructions, he didn't give it to her. He gave it to Adam. He never talked to her, and he listened to her before even though God gave him instructions. That's why you got to watch that.
But let's do this by statistics.
I totally understand what you're saying, and I'm in total agreement with what you said. But
y'all can hear me?
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah.
Let's do this by statistics. Who is the main vessel that goes for divorces? Is it men or women? Women are the head percentage of divorces, right? So that's not love unconditionally. Men stay with their wives and take care of their wives no matter what they do most of the time. Even if they're acting up in a relationship, we do that. You do the stats, lady. Do the stats. I know you want to complain because it's about a woman, but do the stats. Women file for divorce more than men do, and men stay with the bullshit that their women put up with. I mean, the bullshit that they put up with their women all the time. That's unconditional.
Wait a minute, Cam. I got to be wait a minute. Okay.
Well, that is true. No, I understand when you said about statistics. Statistically, that is true. Women do file for divorce at a higher rate than men do. However, we can't just look, and I kind of, it irritates me when people talk about statistics because it goes deeper than that. We just looking at the numbers of the women filing for divorce, but the issue is, what is the reason why? Why do women file for divorce? Because they are not getting love. They are not getting love like they're supposed to be getting love in a marriage. Just because a man decides that, hey, I'm going to stay in this marriage and I'm not going to file for divorce, because a lot of men don't file for divorce because they don't want to have to give up their money. They don't want to have to pay child support. They don't want to have to pay spousal support. That's the reason why they don't file for divorce, because
they believe in their file
out on what they have gained throughout the years within that marriage, because a lot of men say men losing in a divorce. That's the reason why they don't file for divorce, not because they love their wives so much unconditionally and they want to be with them, because they will stay there and neglect their wives, not love them, cheat on them, and do whatever else. You might as well leave.
That sounds like a situation you're in.
No, sir. See, that's what I'm talking about. We can never have a discussion without people trying to either hit below the belt or get into somebody's personal life when you don't know that. You know,
but you don't know anybody else's relationship. So how are you saying? I'm going by statistics. I'm going by statistics. You're the one talking personally.
I know plenty of women. I am divorced, but I know plenty of women. You want to talk about the stats? I'm just saying we can't just look at the numbers. We have to understand why. And men don't stay just because they love their wives so much.
But let me make this clear though. Okay, so from a statistical standpoint, a lot of times you don't even want to say, you know, a lot of people don't want to look at the facts, the things men through before it even get to the point of divorce where the woman has filed for divorce. There's a lot of time men go through things and they never speak about it. And they're in doing things within the relationships. Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, just break it up a little bit. But I mean,
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you kind of go in and
I heard
out.
part of it. I didn't hear the last part.
But what I was going to say about the unconditional part,
basically what I said is, Go ahead.
No, what I was
waiting
saying was
on me,
that,
or you gonna say something?
No, I was waiting on you.
Yeah, actually, what I was basically saying was a lot of times men endure a lot of things within the relationship before the point of divorce, but men are not vocal in a lot of areas when it comes to the spouses and the wives and the girlfriends and the situations, simply because when women get in a position or a place where they don't really want to hear what you got to say, it doesn't matter, because they're going to do and act the way that they want to act. They're going to handle things the way they want to handle them. So sometimes men sit back and say, well, do you?
Right. But I still say, after I really, look at how women operate, it seems like to me, it's always under some condition. They love you to death up under certain conditions. And if you don't meet those conditions or any mistake you make, it just seems like it causes, nowadays, it's just like it makes a relationship struggle. And the thing, like I always say, you have to look at the way a woman loves her son. She knows that her son will make mistakes and she loves him unconditionally. And I would think that she want the wife to take over and help him out and love him unconditionally, and vice versa. And that's the problem, is we don't love each other unconditionally. We only love them according to what you wanted us to do. If we don't do those things, then you're not considered a man, or you're not good enough. And I think that's kind of toxic. But that's just me.
I think we just need to look at the two.
Hey, to be honest, I said something in the Bible study one night about 15. We just need to look at the difference between society unconditionally and biblically unconditionally. See, we so stuck on society as a whole, the outside surface on what unconditional is, and we so focused on what somebody else is doing versus on what we need to do to love unconditionally. I can tell you this, I never, and I don't care how you look at it, but I had never left another woman for any reason. Because if I'm dating a woman and I'm putting my time and effort in there, it's hard going outside trying to date somebody else. I'm trying to learn you. Once I learn you and I start dating you, I'm all in. I threw away the key. I'm in wholeheartedly. Now, does that say anything bad about me? Again, that's their opinion, but I can tell you, and no woman would tell you I have done something that was
that warrants a relationship breaking up. Maybe to them, but as far as spiritually, no.
Right.
I don't think people love themselves unconditionally enough to even want to even have the capability to love another person unconditionally.
Well, I gotta say this too. Much as we say we believe in the Bible, I also understand that if you're really smart and really understand, you really can use it. All the stuff works. And again, if people say they really believe in God like they say they do, and they understand we expect for Him to love us unconditionally, then we ought to give the same thing out. I think that if you don't expect to love your man unconditionally, then don't expect for God to love you unconditionally. And that's just name the game. I mean, sometimes I don't really know what men, what women expect, because I think men, we're very simple. The respect is one of the biggest things that we require. And one thing with us also, we have a lot of pride. And you feed that man, you feed his pride, you feed his ego, you can have him have the palm of your hand. That's the thing that women do not understand. That feeds us. And you can trick us. If we're doing something good, encourage us. Let us know how much you enjoy what it is we're doing.
I think at the end
They don't want us to have too much fun.
I think at the end of the day, everybody's situation is different, and
right.
Where you can't look at one situation and think that all situations are like that, because it's not. And you never know what's going on behind closed doors in somebody else's home. So even the Bible says, the Lord says, if you love me, keep my commandments. So if we say we love each other so much and we neglect the things that we're supposed to do when it comes to husband and wives and whatever the case may be, then how can you truly say that you love me if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing when you're supposed to be doing it? And that's catered to whatever the situation is. Of course, there is forgiveness. There is even love thy neighbor as thyself. Like you said earlier, some people don't even love themselves. And that's
love thy enemy.
Yes, I mean all of that. So it's like there are conditions on all of this. Like there are things that you're supposed to be doing to show your love. And if you're not doing those things, how can you say that you love them?
But we're not perfect though. That's
not
all
perfection.
Wait a minute,
I'm not saying be perfect.
Give us grace and mess up.
That's fine, because everybody is gonna mess up. But when you say, okay, understand. See, and here's the thing. I know y'all heard of the term being emotional intelligent. Here's the thing. It's like, how well do you know yourself? How well can you communicate your wants and your needs? How well do you know your partner to understand their wants and their needs and how they are feeling? Because it's an empathetic thing. You have to be a person who has empathy, especially in your marriage or your relationship, because it allows you to kind of like tap into how your partner is feeling. A lot of people are not capable of having empathy. And that's getting deep into the psychology of it all. But it's all about understanding yourself and understanding your partner. And a lot of us we don't even have enough depth to even pay attention to our partner enough to get to know them intimately.
Let me say this. Once you get into a marriage, and it ain't just in a marriage, but especially once you get into a marriage, if we're not looking to serve our husband or our wife, then we're in the wrong mentality. A lot of time marriages is looking to get what I can get, what you giving me. No, what you giving that person. Even if that person is not giving you what you deserve, you still supposed to give him or her what they deserve. And I think that's where people go wrong at. Because I'm not getting over here, so you're not gonna get over there. And I think, and it says, matter of fact, the preacher today, he said, you can't be in a strong marriage if you're not willing to forgive. If you're not willing to forgive in a marriage, then don't get married. And that's what. Basically, we just got to sum it up. We just got to serve one another, especially in a marriage. Do what it takes to serve that woman, serve that man, and stop worrying about what you get.
Most of the breakups, I gotta really be honest. Most of the breakups has something to do with something that the man was not doing and meeting an expectation. That's why I still say that, when we say those vows to God, nothing in there saying that it's on condition that you do this. Nothing in there says that. So we agree to everything through thick and thin, ups and downs. I don't know what we expect for the downs to be, but it said through better for worse, the worst. And then you agree to it, and then soon get a little thick. I can't do that. But then you should have got married. You can't even live it out. I mean, you should. I mean, that's just how I feel.
I agree, but let me say this, because a lot of people do not know this, especially a lot of people who say they are Christians. Wedding vows are not in the Bible. They were created by a man, a white man. So we all be singing these wedding vows and stuff, but they are not actually in the Bible. Ain't nothing wrong with the vows though, but they're not in the Bible. So this is not something that God has instructed us to do. You can go research it if you want to. But hold on, let me ask Eric this question. When you said even if you're not getting anything in the marriage, you still supposed to give. But why wouldn't you be getting anything? Because that's supposed to be your responsibility to give and take care of your partner.
I'm glad you asked that question. There's a time God takes us through some things and he allows those things to be delivered. I've been watching the series The Chosen, and I watch how Mary and who was it? Anyway, her husband, I think Andrew. But anyway, she wasn't getting what she wanted, but God told him to follow him. He said, "No, I want you to follow me." So, and she agreed to it. When he started following her, she felt like she wasn't getting what she wanted, and God already told him it's not going to be easy. So the things that she wanted, he couldn't give it to her at the time. But when the season came around, now that opportune time was there. So when I say that continue to give, God said, pray for your enemy. Love your enemy, even if they hate you. Love them. Because God understands sooner or later it will come back where they will probably start loving you or look at you differently. So just because you're not getting it at that moment doesn't cancel the fact that you won't get it. You just continue to give.
I think in a situation like that, it's important to communicate, to connect, to communicate. Even especially if you have two people who believe in God, two people who trust God, you should be able to go to your wife and say, hey, this is what God has instructed me to do. Or even if you can't tell her the complete story, you could say, so at this time, I may not be as attentive as you would like me to be or whatever. You have to cover yourself along with covering your wife or your husband. You have to cover your relationship, because when you don't, it creates cracks for the enemy to get in and blow it out of proportion. You know what I'm saying? To blow it up. So it's important to communicate as deep and intimately as you can to get an understanding.
But because people are on two different communication level about, say, a topic, they would never agree. That's why you agree to disagree. And let me just say this. If I tell a woman that, look, you argue too much, and please don't argue when we go on this trip, and you say to me, no, I would never stop arguing. And as a man, I say, well, we're not going to go on this trip because you already in your mindset wants to argue about any little thing that's unnecessary. I mean, the sky's blue. I say the sky's gray. It got dark clouds. And you get mad at me for 2 weeks for saying this sky's gray. So as a man, I have to decide, do I want to go on this trip? Or do I want you to understand or agree that you're not going to argue over any little things that come to your mind? So that's why I can't give you these vacations if that's all you do is be Godzilla on every trip. So that's what I mean. You can't cater to someone because of their wants. The need is treat me how you want to be treated, with care, with understanding, with love, and not with so much tension everywhere you go. So that's what I mean. But I think if we do that, then I think relationship will be a whole lot better.
Yeah, I think each individual person is responsible for being that type of person. If everyone, just like you said, if we do that, which means if you yourself, your personal self, get in a certain relationship with God, if you work on yourself, you work on your emotional space, you work on your communication and all of that, you heal, whatever it is. If you do it in the individual capacity, then you can be able to do it in your relationship because it's who you are. But we don't work on ourselves. We deflect and want the other person to do without us ever doing any type of work on ourselves or changing the negative parts of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, no, let me play
Real
real quick.
quick.
Hold on. I'm going to do this earlier.
Hey, I want to say something.
It actually from a man. He that women are delusional because they think that their looks, vagina, and personality is special to men, but that's really not what keeps you. That may attract you, that's not what keeps you. Yeah. And that is what shifted my dating as well. Because I used to be one of those people like, oh, I'm so pretty, but like so many other women are more beautiful than me. What is going to make me stand out to a guy? Yeah. How I talk to him, communicate, how I make him feel, my character.
That was good.
All right.
I like how
What
she.
y'all think about that?
I like how she changed that. What's going to make me stand out?
Yeah, that was great
from all
insight.
the other pretty women. I love that. That's it. I haven't heard that a lot. And I think, and that should be the billboard. What's going to make me different from this other pretty woman? Because if a man's looking at you by your beauty, guess what? He's looking at somebody else too.
Right. I got a question for.
But
for
the
Kim.
inside is what's going to make the difference.
True. I got a question for Kim. You know, Bennett, that you are a single mother, and one day your son grow old enough and meet a woman. How you feel if the woman he married doesn't give him the leeway, or just really try to sit down and understand that he will make mistakes like you do? How do you feel about that?
Well, let me say this, because I know when people say single mother, my son's father is in his life. So right. He do have me in his life. We don't co-parent because I'm in a different state now. So, but anyway, what I would say is I try to teach my son, and he's about to be 13, so there's a lot of stuff I haven't gotten to yet. But when it's in a relationship, when it comes to a relationship, I would want a woman to understand him. I would want a woman to accept him for who he is. I would want him to have a woman who is willing to, if she decides that she's going to be his wife, let me say this. If she decides that she's going to be his wife, I would definitely want her to be able to forgive, to, like the Bible said, suffer long. We're supposed to be long suffering with each other. I want her to have compassion for him, empathy for him, to be able to be a safe space for him. Yes, I would want her to be all of that for him, because as a woman, that's what I bring to the table when it comes to my relationship, and definitely when I become a wife again. So I would want her to do that. But I would also tell my son different areas of what you don't do to create hostility in your relationship, or what you don't do to create don't bring other people in your relationship. There are things that should be done on both sides to help create a certain level of respect within a relationship. And once you break that respect, it's hard to get a trust or respect. It's hard to get certain things or keep certain dynamics in the relationship, healthy dynamics, because you cross boundaries. So I would, you know.
But just like you as a mother, though,
Mm-hmm.
and whenever he do make a mistake and do something, because as boys we're gonna do it. I mean, like, are you gonna encourage him? Are you gonna talk to him about it? And don't you really feel like at the end of the day, the woman that's choosing to be with your son, you want him to love him unconditionally as much as you do?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, why wouldn't I want her to love him unconditionally? But I'm his mother. I'm not. It's a different. Even though, like, I don't feel like those two loves can be compared. I mean, I understand that you want unconditional love, huh?
It's supposed to be. I'm gonna tell you why I say that.
Why?
We gotta pay attention to everything. But you know, when someone gets married, you know, it's about in the Bible. But you know, when a man clean from his mother and father, you know, it's showing he's starting something new. He never said anything about the woman. But when the father walks the woman down the aisle, it's a symbol. And I never understood it because just tradition, we just do it. But what happens is when the father walks down the aisle and he hands it over to the soon-to-be husband, what he's saying is that I am the father, this is my daughter. You are taking responsibility of what I did for her. She's now yours. So everything as far as me protecting, she's now yours. Everything for me loving her, the way, she's now yours. What is the difference? Isn't it the same thing? I mean, it's the same type of relationship that you don't think that, so you don't think that a wife should love her husband unconditionally just as much as the mother did?
I'm not saying she shouldn't love him unconditionally. What I'm saying is, I don't think those love for the son, and I don't think it should be compared. I think it's still a different type of love. I think that when you leave a child, leave the mother and father. Okay, you leave your mother and your father and you cleave unto your wife. That's what it said about the husband. You leave your mother and your father and you cleave to your wife. So my job is to train my son up in the way that he should go. And when he become an adult, then I've done my part. Of course, Of course, I want her to love him unconditionally, but you're also supposed to become one with your husband and your wife. You're one. They will share things intimately that me and my son never would. That's doesn't even become. It's different.
Yeah, that's even more intense.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be compared because that's a different level of love. So yes, love unconditionally, but I just don't think the two loves should be compared.
Okay.
It can't be compared because you're talking about soul ties and then you're talking about a motherly love. So it's two different types of love y'all talking about. Then on the other hand, you know, addressing some of the stuff that Coach was saying, if you look in the book of Ephesians 5, it doesn't literally word it the same way it does when you go to a wedding, but those are basically the vows in the ending of Ephesians chapter 5. If you look at it, it basically gives you all the rules and the guidelines of a marriage and what it pertains to and what the husband should do and what the wife should do. So, you know, sometimes we say, you know, well, a man did this and a man did that, but if you stay under the commandments, you're going to be under the guidelines of everything that you say at a wedding and the vows. So it's a lot that comes with, you know, considering the things about the marriage and the vows and what you're saying, and you saying, hey, this is a man thing. Nah, that was a God thing. Because if you look at it, it was the first union and the mystical thing that they did in Cana of Galilee with God in the marriage with Christ and the Lord, and he adorned the bride, which was the Holy Spirit and stuff like that. So why am I saying all that? I'm saying all that to say that when you go into a relationship you're supposed to go in there open-hearted, open-minded, not covering, not hiding. You know what I'm saying? With no manipulation and stuff like that. So you got to be mindful of how you even walk in the relationship. And then not only that, it's different responsibilities that come in relationships as pertains to how the relationship is started. Did the person have children when you got together? Did you have children when you got with the person? You understand? Did y'all make babies within the relationship? See, all that stuff ties and creates different problems within a relationship. So you know what I'm saying? When you look at the fact that the thing that women should do for her man, some of those conditions change when they already have children that are born. And then some of those conditions change if they make babies within the relationship, within the marriage. You know what I'm saying? Women look at all of those perspectives differently. Then let me tell you something about women. Women will love you today and wake up tomorrow and walk away from you and ride by you in a car and act like they ain't never seen you before and was loving you the day before. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to be very careful when it comes to a woman. You understand?
Right.
You might say it's like this. Me and you could be married. And all of a sudden, you might not want the marriage no more. You might say a few things, but I have seen some women get up and leave a relationship, leave a man, never say nothing to him again, and have a new man the next day and ride by him in a car. So you got to be very careful. Like women can say, yeah, I love you unconditionally. And then the next day, they don't know you.
Yeah.
You understand?
Exactly,
so you got to be very careful when it comes to a relationship as pertains to women. You understand? You got to know what you're getting into. You got to know who you got. If you don't know who you got and what you got, like right now, and then sometimes you can know who you got and what you got, and they'll change on you through time, trial and error. You know what I'm saying? And like right now, this is another thing. Everybody always want to act like they want to be treated a certain way, but when it comes time to reciprocate the way you want to be treated, people change.
That part is true. That part
you
is
understand? You can say,
yeah.
hey, I want to be loved like this. I want you to shower me with this. I want you to shower me with that. But when it's your turn to do that, people don't do that.
Because they're selfish.
It'll be every excuse in the world. Right. You understand what I'm saying? Like right now, it's just like this. And lo and behold, you could be a man, you could have a job, you could provide, you could take care of the family. Guess what? You might fall on your luck. Anything could happen. Guess what? A woman say, I'll be with you to the end. They might come out there and do it 6-7 months, but are they gonna do it for the rest of your life? You gotta know what you got, baby. If you don't know what you got, you done.
A lot of times you don't know what you got because it's not revealed, and it's hard for it to be revealed because we don't see that. Just like marriage, somebody mom and dad can say after 19 years somebody been married, 25 years somebody been married. I told you that man wasn't good enough. How do you see that 25 years ago? You said during the 24 that everything was going great. That, oh, look at y'all so cute. And then the 25th year when something happened, I told you he wasn't no good. How can you see that? Only God knows. But I want to say this one thing right here. And somebody mentioned it at church today. They said silence between a husband and a wife is like poison.
Yeah, it really is.
The longer you don't say something, the worse it gets. So I think when we're in a relationship and we hold things back and we don't say something, it's like poison is affecting our relationship from growing. So say something, even when it hurts the other person. We have to say something, but say it in a way where it's received in a I guess more calmly, generous way. Not to say, because even Jesus, he'll say things, man, watching The Chosen. If you haven't watched it, I urge any several of you watch the series The Chosen. A lot of time his disciple wanted to attack people, and Jesus said, no, let them talk. Let them speak. Let them do this. And then he spoke in a way where they received him. So if we speak in a way where our loved one receive us, see, the greatest speaker is one that is not one that speaks. It's one that he attracts to listen to them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the greatest speaker, not one that speaks, but one that attracts people to listen.
That's right. And a lot of times you have to know how to, you got to go to God before you even deal with your spouse or deal with the opposite in your relationship. See, sometimes we want to jump out there and say how we feel. Sometimes it ain't. Your relationship should never be based on how you feel anyway. Feelings and emotions is what really create problems within the relationship.
Yeah.
You understand? Because sometimes when you base it on your feelings and emotions, you create a worse problem than what it was really from the beginning with. So you got to be careful about that. You got to go to God and ask God which way to proceed within whatever the problem is you have with your spouse. Because sometimes the problem that you have with your spouse or significant other might not be a problem with them. It might be a problem within you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I would say that, man. I think one reason why a lot of women won't forgive and have trouble is because a lot of people really ain't healed like they say they are. And sometimes they're dealing with something so deep down when one thing triggers it, they're ready to be out because they haven't really dealt with it. And there's so many women that really have not dealt with a lot of different, and not only that, I think men too, because I realized some things recently that I never realized it was so down, embedded. But we do have to put work into ourselves to even understand that. And just because a person make a mistake, I think that everybody is going to make a mistake, especially men. We're going to always fall short somehow. But I still think that, I think when women hear about the unconditional part, they want to think that we're saying we just be able to do to you whatever we want to do. That's not what we're saying. I just think that if you're going to love us, but don't love us on a condition of what we do. Because when we love you guys, we don't love you on conditions. I don't think most guys do. Some guys probably do, but for the most part, I don't think most guys do.
And we should look at one another, look at the intention on when we look at the person and we know about them, look at their intentions. Sometimes their intentions don't come out the way that they want it to come.
Their intentions, right.
But a lot of time we're scorned or we're throwing darts at because of the way that it came out or the way that you received it. But if you know a person and you know their heart, you know that they're not out to get you or to belittle you or do things that is outside or characteristic. So I think when we look at a person's intention and we know a person's heart, then we can forgive them for the things that how we received it or what they didn't mean to say. Or sometimes it ain't about how they said it. Sometimes it's totally about how you received it based on your past relationships.
Right.
So let me ask a question. So have you all ever been in a relationship and you was in a position where you had an opportunity and you didn't forgive them based on, okay, I got you. Is it right?
What do you say? Because we didn't hear your question.
Yeah, no, I was getting ready to ask the question, but he muted because the mic wasn't working right, I guess.
No, you still talking. I still hear you.
Okay, so now this is my question. You know how y'all are basically saying everybody's not forgiven. My question is, a lot of times people won't forgive you for what they want to be forgiven for. Why would you not forgive a person for what you wanted to be forgiven for? In other words, a relationship, sometimes people don't want to forgive you for what you've done, but they've done the very same thing and ask forgiveness within what problem they've created for themselves in the past.
Right, you break it up a little bit.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. As for me, I don't think I ever been in a relationship where I didn't forgive. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I'm not perfect, but I figured whether
you're calling Dana.
Whether I understand a person, fully understand a person or not, my intention is to forgive for not understanding or for being ignorant or forgiving for the wrong you done to me, whatever case may be. Because I truly believe in a relationship, especially marriage, you should not go to bed with having all against your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, whatever case may be. Make it right. That is my mentality throughout everything I do in life. God, I don't want to die and knowing because I didn't forgive somebody, that because I died in my sleep, it may turn the switch whether I go to heaven or hell. I don't want to be in that predicament. So my whole intention is to make it right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you, Eric. I see what you're saying. Kim, you want to say anything?
I was just gonna say, you know, just like you said before, and I had to come to terms with this because I'm a giver, and I get in because for me, I'm like, I go above and beyond, and this is not only when it comes to, you know, my relationships or it's friendship too. So I'm giving, like I'm a giver, and sometimes if that's a struggle for me because I'm looking for people to go above and beyond for me, and sometimes they don't. And right. From my perspective, and I'm like, well, you know, I'm giving. So why am I not getting some of those things or feel like I'm getting the same thing in return? So when it comes to, so I really had to get to a place where it's like, especially let me say, when it comes to forgiveness, let me stay on task, forgiveness. I think my marriage was the longest relationship I was in, and that was almost 10 years. So when you say, there were some times when I wanted to forgive and I really tried, but the wounds was the roots of the unforgiveness went so deep it was hard. I mean, and when we talk about forgiveness, it's like it takes a certain level of maturity and being rooted in the spirit to really be able to not only say you forgive, but to walk out the forgiveness. That's not an easy thing, depending on what has happened. Especially if it's repeatedly, you know what I'm saying? If when you see the sword is trying to heal and then the scab is snatched back off, like, so it takes a lot, you know, and you definitely have to pray and really get in position with God for yourself, because the forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person, it's for you. Even though you are, it was a command for you to forgive. So sometimes you don't forgive. It's a process in forgiving. Let me say.
It is.
Can I tell you why it's easy for me to forgive? I take my attention off the person and put my attention on the devil. The devil is trying to interfere. And so a lot of times, I don't look at the person as being the problem. I look at the problem as being the problem. So that's why, to me, it's a lot easier for me to forgive someone. Man, I don't have anything against my ex-wife. She is who she is. There's some things she did that I would never, ever wish that on anybody. But at the same time, I stayed with her and I forgave her every day, not for who she was, but because what the devil was trying to do. Wow. And so I didn't look at her as being the problem. I look at the problem as being the problem. I took my attention off of her and focused my attention on the devil, praying, asking, you know, God to intervene, things of this nature. So to me, I think it's a different level on people wanting to forgive, because for me, I look at it as easy. Now, did it take easy throughout my life? No, it took me going through a process for me to get there.
Right. That makes sense.
Good stuff.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about that. I see what y'all saying. I think everybody made good points. I think Savage said that was pretty good.
Appreciate it, Jim. I got mistakes too, Jim.
Yeah. The church. Either Kim, do y'all want to say something before we get up?
I was just gonna say, I think some people think they have forgiven, and it's not that they don't try to, but I think they may get to a point where they feel like they really have forgiven, and then something happens that we like to say trigger, but something happened that triggers that thing again, and that allows them to see that they haven't forgiven as much as they thought they had. So it's still some work that needs to be done for you to get to that place of forgiveness. But a lot of times forgiveness don't mean reconciliation though either.
Right.
So that's a key thing too.
It's moving on.
Right.
And I also think that it's very important, I think, for people try to build a best friend relationship with somebody, in the very beginning. Really get to know people, because sometimes we get in relationships and we're so busy to get to the good stuff, but we never really have these certain talks to figure out. Everybody got a story. Everybody got something they dealt with. And we don't, sometimes you go for a long time and they never talked about it. You never talked about it and you're dealing with it. Not understanding why the way they are. That's why it's so good, man, to get someone y'all can really have deep conversations with. They're able to open up to each other and really understand each other. Because see, that's a problem too, because I realize sometimes with women, you can tell them something, but then the way they react, they make a person want to keep it to themselves, because you want to be someone that you can open your heart out to without being judged. And so when you find you've been judged, whether you're man or women, and once you find you've been judged, then you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna hold this to myself, because I don't like how they're not understanding enough, because they're just looking at it from their point of view. They're not looking at what I went through. They don't understand all of me. And the reason why most people don't understand all of us, because we don't even understand ourselves half the time. With me, myself, you really have to unravel all of your wrong to understand where every part of you comes from. And I look, even like with me, I was able to understand where every aspect of my personality, how I go about doing things, who influenced this, where this started from. I understand myself. I understand why I react the way that I do, even the bad stuff. And there's still some stuff now I'm realizing. But all of it is really you reflecting on yourself and understand it's never about the other person. It's always about you. We always try to make it about the other person, but it's always about us. And learn to get to know people, man. That best friend chemistry bond is so important, and it's so hard to find someone that you can open your heart out to, and they can say, you know what, I understand. They're not going to judge you. And sometimes we get with people because we're attracted to them, because the sex is good, because they have money, but you don't have that. There's a lot of people that's in a relationship and they're not best friends. They don't, and so sometimes you don't have that. You have to go outside to kind of spiritually have a chemistry or connect someone you can talk to that understands you, and they know how to talk to you, and they're going to listen, and they're not going to judge you. That's the hardest part. At least that's what I think.
That's some good stuff, Anthony, but I would like to say this, though. Even though you do all of that, sometimes there are still triggers. There are things that could be said. There are actions that people can create. There's different things that will trigger you to go back to your past, to even.
But it's different if you know it, though. See, that's the thing. Some people don't know it. Some people don't know that.
Yeah, and that's the point that I'm making. The point that I was making is sometimes you can trigger a person, and the person don't even know you've triggered, because there are things that they haven't addressed throughout their life, things that they're dealing with, as well as self. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to be careful about that with triggers. Like, you can think you know a person, and you can go from here, you could be with them 20 years. Let's just say you with them 20 years, and guess what? You might trigger something from their childhood. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything you've done. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And it might even be something that they've guarded that they haven't even realized they've guarded. So you have to be very careful.
And sometimes it can be so embedded, church, it can be so embedded that it becomes a part where it's so natural to them that they don't think there's nothing wrong. To them, that's normal, because it's all they knew is to act like that. That's all they knew. That's the worst part, when they don't know it.
But triggers are not for the other person. It's for you to know.
It's a choice. It's a choice.
It's for you to say, oh, it's still something there. It's still something I need to work on. It's still something that I haven't resolved yet. The triggers are for you.
But let me tell you this. Triggers are, a lot of people want to hold on to triggers. Catch this. People want to hold on to triggers. You know why I say that? Because you hear them say, oh, I'm not all the way there yet, so don't push me, or don't push my button, or don't do this, or don't do that. They want to hold on to triggers. But why? Why do we want to hold on?
Because they're still angry. They're still holding it inside. Right. That's what it is.
Right. So
they still hold on to the past.
So we haven't forgiven.
It's a defense mechanism.
God wants to forgive wholeheartedly.
And that's why
the problem that you're dealing with.
And that's why it's hard for them to forgive men, because they haven't forgiven what happened to them in the past. They haven't healed. That's why.
Trust me.
That's why I think that when you, after a relationship ends, or when you're over, or when a relationship ends, let me say that, that's the reason why I feel like people need to just be by themselves at least for a good year, work on yourself, tap into what happened, what could you have done, like just really do some soul searching before you even decide to get into another relationship.
Man, we all in Sunday lesson. I'm in the ministry Sunday school lesson, and we are talking about everything that we just said. Kim, you did what he was talking about as far as take your time, deal with self. And, you know, it's a maturity level. I don't think it has to do with a time. I think it has to do with a maturity level. Are you sure that you're finished with what you just went through? Are you delivered? Are you forgiven? Have you forgiven? Can you see yourself going into a relationship without saying, man, you just like my ex? If you mention that word to somebody, that means you were not delivered. I'm going to tell you right now, if you say those words, that means you're still holding on to residue. You're still holding on to afterbirth. All your afterbirth hasn't been washed away. You're still holding on to stuff that's going to cause you to flare up when something happens. And that's not right for the person who you go into a relationship with. That means you need to deal with self. Look self in the mirror and say, man, I need to get right before I can make somebody be right for somebody else. And before they can be right for me, I have to get right.
That's right. That's right. All right, y'all guys, we're gonna close. Church, you want to say anything before we leave? Or Kim, anyone else want to say anything before we leave?
Nah, I'm good, man. I just want to say I really enjoyed the show on tonight. I'm sorry my mic won't working a little bit earlier or whatever. I will try to get in on the show a little bit earlier doing the sound check, man. I've just been really busy. I've been missing y'all the last couple of weeks, but I'm back in it and on it.
Hey, we're glad to see you, buddy.
All right.
We're glad to see you. All right, you guys. Hey, this is the longest we've been in a long time, but it was good though. It was good. We just had some technical audio issues, but I'll see you guys next week. And until next time, have a good night. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Go ahead and like the video. Please go ahead and like, share.
All right, no doubt.
All right. Where is my... I know I'm like way off tonight because I can't even. Where's the thing at? Anyway. Did I delete it? Did I delete it? Here we go. No, that's not it. Is that it? No, that's not it. Here we go. I guess I'm gonna be out. I was looking for my outro, but it looks like I made no. Here we go.